VFIAX versus VOO. Which one's the better investment? Let's get into it. When it comes to investments that are made to mirror the S&P 500, there's usually an index fund version of the investment and an ETF fund version of the investment. So in Vanguard's case, VFIAX is the index fund version and VOO is the ETF version. Let's take a look at the essentials for VFIAX. So this index fund has an expense ratio of 0.04% and a minimum investment of $3,000. If we look at the numbers, the returns, is that right? In the last year, VFIAX has earned just under 41%, which is incredible. And in the last 3 years, just under 19%, last 5, just under 18%, and in the last 10, just under 15%. If we had invested $10,000 back in 2011, that same $10,000 would be worth just over $40,000 today in 2021. Now let's look at the essentials for VOO. So this ETF has an expense ratio of 0.03%. And if we look at the returns, they're about the same as VFIAX. So in the last year, just under 41% returns. Last 3, just under 19%. Last 5, just under 18%. And in the last 10, just under 15%. And so if we had taken $10,000 and put it into VOO back in 2011, again, we'd have just over $40,000 today. Both VOO and VFIAX have the same goal of trying to get you the same returns as the market. So their returns are nearly identical. What's the difference? A big difference I did notice on these two charts is that since inception, VOO has had an almost 16% return, while VFIAX has had an almost 8% return. And I think there's a reason for that. If you look at the inception date, so VFIAX inception date is November of 2000, and then VOO's inception date is September of 2010. So that's a 10-year difference. So that's like 10 more years for VFIAX to get returned. So I think over time, like those returns have had time to level out, and that's why the since inception number is a little different between the two. And I don't think that's a big deal because they have about the same holdings over time. I think those two numbers are going to look more and more similar as well. You also have to consider that ETFs trade a lot like stocks. So I think it's easier to get into and out of VOO. And that's not to say that it's hard to get out of VFIAX, but it takes just a little bit longer, like a business day, something like that. Don't quote me there, but yeah, I do think that VOO is slightly more liquid than VFIAX. Only slightly. VFIAX and VOO sound a lot alike. So which one wins? Now I could give you the cop-out answer.
They're both good investments.
But I'm not going to do that. At the time of this recording, I'm going to choose VOO as the better investment, even though I don't own any VOO. I have VFIAX, but I don't have any VOO. And here's why I say that. So if all other things are equal between these two investments, I'm going to choose the investment that has the lower expense ratio. And unless I'm missing some hidden expense, VFIAX has a 33% higher expense ratio than VOO. And I know 0.04% and 0.03% don't really sound like that big of a difference, especially in the short term. But if we're looking for something to distinguish these two investments, the expense ratio does it for me. I don't know if you've ever read the book, The Little Common Sense Book of Investing by John Bogle, but it's definitely worth checking out because it shows you just how much these expenses can dig into your investments over time. And over time, the money that you're not paying in fees and expenses can go back into the investment itself. And that's important. All right, masterminds, that'll do it for today's video. What do you think? Is VFIAX or VOO the better investment? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.